Hey, everybody, what's going on? Jeff Rieger, another episode of the Daily Ticket. This one for Monday, November 6, 2023. What a weekend, people. What a weekend, because as I predicted, Connor Stalions, Michigan, sign stealing, Tony Petitti, now Santa Ono is involved, the Michigan President, Jim Harbaugh. It didn't stop. It just got way more dramatic. This is my favorite soap opera of all time. And I will admit to you, I go from being engaged and obsessed with it to being worn out by it, but then back to obsession. I kind of feel like Connor Stalions feels about Michigan football. Holy smokes. So let's just dive into it, shall we? Because this thing is nowhere close to being done. Something's got to give. Either Michigan's going to win or the Big Ten's going to win. There could be lawsuits. Let's start from the beginning. Over the weekend, Friday night, Connor Stalions fired. That's what the report was. You know, the sign-stealing mastermind, the former Marine, the Michigan football fan, the man that wrote a 600-page Michigan manifesto, he was fired. But then it was later reported that he resigned. Nobody really knows what's to believe. I mean, I would believe that he probably got a payout from Michigan. But he did issue a statement. He issued a statement after Tony Petitti from the Big Ten visited Ann Arbor. Now, mind you, Tony was supposed to be in Ann Arbor regardless. The commission, the Big Ten, because it was the field hockey championships. I mean, who doesn't want to attend the field hockey championships? I had no idea they were even going on. Tony did. So he goes to Ann Arbor. But before going to Ann Arbor over the weekend, on Friday, he met with the school's ADs from the Big Ten, as we told you about. He met with coaches from the Big Ten. He's even met with presidents of the Big Ten. So he went from a trip that was scheduled to go to Ann Arbor to just be there for the field hockey championships. By the way, I have no idea who won. To, I'm going to meet with Santa Ono. I'm going to meet with Santa Ono, the president of Michigan. More on that in a second. So we all knew he was going to Michigan to meet with the president. What happens? Connor Stalions resigns. Now, we're led to believe that Connor did not want to cooperate with the investigation. I don't know if the Big Ten made him resign. I don't know if Jim Harbaugh made him resign. Nobody knows anything. Nobody's talked to Connor, with the exception of his lawyer, who decided to put out a statement. This came earlier from his lawyer. I should have known his name, but I guess I don't. His lawyer said, as informed earlier, Connor chose to resign because recent stories regarding his time with the University of Michigan have created distraction for the team. He hopes his resignation will help the team and coaching staff focus on tomorrow's game. Now, this was on Friday. Tomorrow's game they were talking about was Purdue, and they walloped Purdue. More on that in a second, too. But he hopes his resignation will help the team and coaching staff focus on tomorrow's game and the remainder of the season. Connor also wants to make it clear, to his knowledge, neither Coach Harbaugh nor any other coach or staff member told anyone to break any rules or were aware of proper conduct regarding the recent allegations of advanced scouting. Stallions goes on. I love the University of Michigan and its football program, and I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity I've had to work with the individuals and incredible student athletes, Coach Harbaugh and the other coaches that have been a part of the Michigan football family during my tenure. I do not want to be a distraction from what I hope will be a championship run for the team, and I will continue to cheer them on. Now, I got to tell you, Connor Stalions is either the greatest employee on the history of the world, or he was paid off. I probably believe he was paid off. I can't prove it. It's just speculation. It's just my opinion. Former Marine, name dragged through the mud, everybody ripping on this guy, doesn't feel the need to say anything on his own behalf other than that statement, and now he's no longer part of the program that he loved. Does that sound like a guy that just walked away? Or maybe he was paid off? I'll believe what I want to believe. Feel free to believe whatever the heck you want to believe. But that was the first domino over the weekend that dropped. Connor Stalions, gone. Now, I did think of this. This is where my conspiracy theory comes in. Just because Connor doesn't work for Michigan anymore, there's nothing to stop him from going to, let's say, Piscataway, where Ohio State and Rutgers played over the weekend. And mind you, Rutgers actually led that game at the half, 9-7, I think the score was. What's to stop Connor Stalions from going to Piscataway and recording the signs on the sidelines and then sending it to Michigan? Maybe he's still working with the program. That'd be pretty smart. Probably pretty stupid, too. That's my own little conspiracy. But Connor Stalions, he gone. That was the first domino to drop. But then we get back to Tony Petitti. So Tony Petitti goes to Ann Arbor in hopes to convince Santa Ono to impose sanctions against Jim Harbaugh. Because as we told you on Friday, Petitti's got a hell of a decision to make. Everybody in the Big Ten is furious with Michigan. The coaches want Harbaugh suspended. The ADs want Harbaugh suspended. The presidents want Harbaugh suspended. Tony Petitti's been on the job for 8 freaking months. If he's going to suspend Jim Harbaugh, maybe Harbaugh sues. Maybe Michigan sues. Maybe the punishment is too harsh. In a perfect world, in Petitti's perfect world, no doubt he wanted to go to Ann Arbor, convince Santa to self-impose a suspension for Jim, and thus, Petitti doesn't have to worry about it. Doesn't have to be the bad guy. The rest of the Big Ten is not going to go after him. Jim is suspended. But Santa Ono knew this was coming, and he essentially took both middle fingers, I don't want to do it, it's disrespectful, and did that to the Big Ten. My daughter and wife are in the other room, they can hear me, or I would tell you the exact words Santa Ono said to the Big Ten. Starts with an F, ends with a K, and it's not fork. It's not funk either. It's close. My daughter is whispering it right now. Guys, can you leave the room so I can say it? Michigan told the Big Ten, fuck you. You hear them laughing?
She just mouthed it, so.
She knows what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. But for the purposes of this podcast, I just had to say it. Michigan essentially said, no, big guy Tony, we ain't doing anything. We believe in our guy. We believe in due process. We don't believe there's evidence. We're not suspended Jim Harbaugh, especially when we're trying to win a national championship. On Thursday night, Santa Ono wrote this letter to Tony Petitti. Please, let me read this to you. Got to put my glasses on. There you go. Please don't make fun of me. So this was Thursday night before Petitti was set to go to Ann Arbor to meet. Dear Tony, I look forward to our meeting and am writing now to share some of my deeply held beliefs, which I hope can inform our conversation and guide what we do next. None of us want to be in this situation. The University of Michigan takes its compliance obligations seriously. We're committed to ethics, integrity, and fair play. Let me just stop there for a second. Yeah, I'm sure you are. Anyway, we're committed to ethics, integrity, and fair play. It is at our core and always will be. And that is why I am so deeply concerned about the allegations. We are fully cooperating with the NCAA in its investigation as it seeks to separate the facts from irresponsible speculation seen in the public and on social media discourse. It's precisely at these times when all key facts are not known, but others are all too comfortable offering strongly held opinion that is essentially for everyone to ensure that investigations are conducted fairly and that conclusions are based on what actually happened. Goes on. The reputation and livelihoods of coaches, students, and programs cannot be sacrificed in a rush judgment, no matter how many and how loudly people protest otherwise. Due process matters. I mean, there's more of it. I'm not going to waste your time. But Santa Ono essentially said, hey, Tony, Petitti, suck it. You're not suspending our guy. Or we're not suspending him for you. Of course, as you know, what happened. As soon as you mentioned due process, you know who got pissed? Michigan State fans. Michigan State fans are freaking furious. We already told you how Alan Haller, when Tony Petitti spoke to the AD, Alan Haller, of course, the Michigan State AD, he already said, you're a bunch of hypocrites. You made me suspend all those kids in the tunnel incident against Michigan last year without due process, but now you want to give Michigan due process? You're freaking hypocrites. So as soon as Santa Ono writes this letter, the letter, of course, leaked. He's looking for due process. He wants the investigation to play out. He's not going to suspend Jim Harbaugh or do anything that could complicate a national championship run. You know who got pissed? Michigan State people. And they got every right to be pissed, by the way. It's totally hypocritical. They were forced to suspend their kids right away. The investigation wasn't over. There was millions and millions and millions of hours of video, it seemed like, in that tunnel from every camera. But now you're asking Jim Harbaugh not be suspended because due process. So what essentially happened was Santa Ono, like I've already said, told Tony Petitti in the Big Ten, screw you. You want to do something? Feel free. We'll fight it. But we're not doing anything. So now Tony Petitti, 8 months into the job, is in hell. What's he going to do? You got all this evidence against Michigan. You got everybody hating Michigan. You got Michigan State bitching about due process. They get due process, but we didn't get due process. What is Tony Petitti, the commissioner of the Big Ten, going to do? What the hell is he going to do? What an awful situation to be in. If he suspends Harbaugh, which he might, then Michigan could sue him. Harbaugh could sue him. How many games do you suspend him for? The standard discipline would be 2 games and a $10,000 fine. That would make Harbaugh available to coach against Ohio State. Maybe Petitti's pissed off that Santa Ono essentially said, F you. Maybe he'll suspend him for the rest of the Big Ten season. Maybe he'll suspend him for the Big Ten championship game as well if Michigan gets there. What do you do? Nobody knows. I can tell you this. By the time you get around to watching this video or listening to this podcast, the decision might already be done. Harbaugh might get suspended. I got a feeling Harbaugh will get suspended. But don't take my word for it. Let's go to somebody that knows a hell of a lot more than me. Pete Thamel. Yeah, I get it. Everybody says Pete Thamel. Oh, he's a Buckeye fan. He's not neutral. He roots for Ohio State. Pete Thamel, one of the guys reporting on this case, this story, was on College Game Day yesterday. Take a listen to what he said when Reese Davis asked him, what do you think's going to happen? Do we believe something's going to happen? Take a listen.
Yeah, Reese, the most telling sign that the Big Ten, which would take action immediately and has the purview to do that, it would come under the league's sportsmanship policy. And the most telling sign that could happen is that Tony Petitti told his athletic directors this week that he's been engaged with the NCAA, which is an important step in getting a fact set in this case. In the last few days, Petitti has spoken with the athletic directors. He's spoken with the presidents. He's spoken with the coaches. And the next steps appear that there will be some type of punishment for Michigan. The most likely scenario here is some type of suspension for Jim Harbaugh. I wouldn't expect anything to happen today before they kick off against Purdue at 7:30. But in the upcoming days, Reese, I would expect that we're going to find out whether or not the Big Ten will punish Jim Harbaugh, what that will be, and how long that suspension would be potentially.
So how about that? Pete Thamel thinks Harbaugh is going to get suspended. And I already told you standard punishment would be 2 games, 10G fine. More of a punishment would be the rest of the season, maybe the Ohio State game. Couple things to think about right here. First of all, do you really want to suspend Jim Harbaugh for the Buckeye game? Everybody and their uncle is looking forward to that game. We all already got reports that the Buckeyes are responsible for the leaks. Ryan Day, apparently, according to some, and his brothers, some who run a private investigation firm, apparently, they were the ones who spilled the beans on Michigan. Now, it doesn't matter because Michigan's still guilty, correct? It's not like it matters where the evidence came from. But my point is, with all that's happened, this Ohio State-Michigan game is going to be the highest rated football game in the history of college football, I feel. do you really want to suspend Jim Harbaugh for that game if you're Tony Petitti? Do you? But then on the flip side, if you don't do anything, or if you go soft on Harbaugh, every president and AD and coach is going to think you're soft. You'll have no credibility for your new job 8 months in. So what do? I think he will suspend Jim Harbaugh. But for how many games? What will Michigan do? Will they fight it? Will they be successful? Are they already lawyered up? What drama, people. What drama. It's fantastic, isn't it? Oh, it's beautiful. Spare me if you're a Michigan fan saying, this isn't fun at all. Everybody's enjoying it. And by the way, Michigan fans love Santa Ono because he's essentially told the Big Ten where to go. And the rest of the world hates Santa Ono and Michigan because they think Michigan is a bunch of cheaters. So what do you think? Comment section below. What should happen? What will happen? Let me know what you think. The other thing I would love to get your take on, how much do you think this helped Michigan? I got into so many arguments on the radio over the weekend about how this helped Michigan. I think it helped them immensely. I think this is the reason they beat the Buckeyes in back-to-back years. Wojo, who I work with, of course, disagrees. Everybody was pretty much straight down the middle. Half and half. Half thinks, yeah, of course it helps. Why would you do it otherwise? Other half is like, doesn't help at all. Everybody does it. Shut up, Rieger. You're an idiot. So let me know. What do you think happens? Maybe by the time you see this or hear this, Harbaugh's already suspended. And furthermore, how much do you think it actually helped? Before I let you go and get to the comments, I do have one more thing. There was a game played on Saturday. Michigan rolled Purdue 41-13. Interestingly enough, Ohio State beat Purdue 41-7. Does that mean the Buckeyes are better than the Wolverines? I don't know. But as you could assume, there was a very frigid handshake between Ryan Walters, the Purdue head coach, and Jim Harbaugh, the Michigan head coach. In case you missed it, we told you on Friday, Ryan Walters said he had proof that Michigan cheated. And evidence, or at least reports came out that apparently Connor Stalions bought tickets over the last couple of years to Purdue games. Jim Harbaugh probably didn't like that. Ryan Walters probably doesn't like Jim Harbaugh because he thinks he's a cheater. So their handshake, go watch it. I'd show it to you if I could, but I'm not allowed to show you other video apparently. It's fantastic. It's very frosty, which makes it even for a better backdrop for this entire saga that's continuing in front of us. Oh, it's unbelievable. It doesn't go away. It just doesn't go away. So let me know, comment section below. Did this actually help Michigan? And what do you think happens with Jim Harbaugh? Let's get to the comments. If you watch or listen to the Daily Ticket, I love you. Thank you. Thank you for downloading, rating, subscribing. The reviews are coming in hot and heavy. Thank you. But on the Daily Ticket, what I like to do is I like to read a good comment and I like to read a bad comment. The good comment is usually saying I do a good job, or it's a question about sports. The bad comment is usually ripping on me, saying what an idiot I am. Let's get to them, shall we? Here's the good comment. This is from Friday's podcast. This is from Christopher Wall 444. Says the following. This video is the clearest yet of all on this topic. Thanks, Jeff. How about that? That's somebody who appreciates my work. Thank you, Christopher. But as always, I can't get too excited. Can't pat myself in the back too quickly because there's a bad comment. This one actually is a tweet. Now, maybe I deserve this. I don't know. But I did make a Connor Stalions joke over the weekend. Again, when the Buckeyes trailed Rutgers 9-7 at the half, I made a joke on the tweeter, the X, whatever you want to call it, that Connor Stalions was in Piscataway, helping Rutgers. That didn't go over well with everybody. Like, if you can't laugh about this, I don't know what the hell to tell you. But this individual, his name is DJ, where is it? Did I not write it down? It was DJ something on Twitter. Here, I can tell you. He deserves his respect, right? DJ Primetime. Very clever name. Said the following. Rieger, you got to hate your life. You're a complete loser. You fake Michigan fan. You should end your radio career immediately. You had the worst takes ever. So that was his tweet towards me. Very mean-spirited. What did I do to DJ Primetime to get him so upset other than to rip his Wolverines? I'm a Michigan fan too. I'm different than DJ Primetime. Oh, I don't see what's going on and not just be a blubbering fanboy and say, well, it didn't really help. They didn't really cheat. It looks pretty bad, guys. But DJ Primetime thinks he ripped on me. But if you go back to what he actually tweeted at me, something stuck out. He says, yeah, I must hate my life, which I don't. I love my life. Calls me a complete loser. My wife probably agrees with that. Do you agree with that, Allison? Sometimes. She said sometimes. Called me a fake Michigan fan.
I don't believe it.
My daughter says she doesn't believe it. Thank you, Olive. But the thing that stuck out about this tweet to me was he said somebody should end your radio career immediately. That's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. He called this a career. I never thought this was a career. Most people think it's a hobby. My wife thinks this is a hobby. DJ Primetime thinks I'm credible. I got myself a career, people.
I don't think it's a hobby.
Oh, thank you, Alf. Thank you, DJ Primetime, for saying I have a career. Nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. That's going to do it for the Daily Ticket. Like I said, by the time you watch or listen to this, Jim Harbaugh might get suspended. He might be suspended. According to Pete Thamel, he believes it's happening. What do you think? Comment section below. Will Jim get suspended? And how much did this actually help the Wolverines as they sit at 9-0? Let me know, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the Daily Ticket. I do have one more thing, though. One more quick thing. Where do you think Connor Stalions is now? I'm obsessed with Connor Stalions. Like, who is this guy? All right. That's going to do it for the Daily Ticket. We will catch you tomorrow on a Tuesday. Maybe have more closure to this. Probably not, though. I'm sure it's going to continue. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. The Daily Ticket. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.